everybody. I'm Will Moore with Circulate San Diego. I'm the Policy Council of Circulate. That's WILLMOORE with Circulate San Diego. We are the sponsors of new legislation AB 2560 to make the proven density bonus program that all of California has successfully helped build affordable and additional housing abides by, and apply that fully in the coastal zone, which is the most exclusive and segregated part of our state. We have here today Assemblymember David Alvarez, who has co-authored the legislation with Senator Scott Wiener. We also have here today Rami Cortez of Rami Infill Development, who is a developer who uses density bonus to build exactly these sorts of projects. We are standing in front of the Commodore, which is an affordable housing, it is a density bonus complex with 92 units. 5 of those are deed restricted for very low income housing and for families who have limited resources who couldn't otherwise afford to live here. This is, as you can see, the sort of building that would be perfectly appropriate. You wouldn't even notice it if you drove past it on PCH. Unfortunately, we can't build these very effectively in the coast. So our run of show is going to be Assemblymember Alvarez, then Mr. Cortez, and then I'll come back and give some comments about why Circulate is sponsoring this legislation.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. It was just not very long ago, last year, some of you were present, and I appreciate your interest in this issue. We're present not very far from here. I'm going to say about a mile away or even less, when we introduced the density bonus bill from last year that the governor signed into law and is now into effect as of January 1st, where developments like this one can earn the right to build a few more units if they commit to building units for that are affordable housing for low-income individuals. And what my bill did was increase the number of units they could build if they built for middle-class families. Unfortunately, as we attempted to approve that bill last year, there was opposition from the coastal individuals who did not want to see the same rules be applied to the coastal area. So we have come back this year with AB 2560, which is a Density Bonus Coastal Zone Act bill, which would ensure that the same rules that apply to everywhere in California, such as here in National City, apply to the coastal communities, the most expensive communities in California, who often don't build the housing that we need. We have seen the density bonus again be successfully implemented. One example here, but there are plenty others up and down the state. And with this recent success, we realize we need to ensure that people can live everywhere in California, and that is why once again we are seeking to move forward with this coastal only focus with this bill. By removing the provisions preventing the application of the density bonus law within the coastal zone, we can actually help make housing more affordable for all Californians, no matter where we're looking at. And we know that we have to do better. According to the 2019 report from the National Association of Home Builders, the people who actually build homes, 8 out of 10 least affordable major metropolitan areas in the whole entire country were right here in California. 8 out of 10 of the most expensive places to build were right here in California. 7 of which were along the coast. So 8 out of the 10 most expensive from California, 7 of those 8 were the coastal areas of California. We had a report done by the Independent Legislative Analyst Office not long ago that stated that on top of the 150,000 units that California needed to build, we should focus on additionally 100,000 units along the coast. We are falling woefully behind. If we want to solve the housing crisis, we have to build housing everywhere in California. We cannot only leave it to the inland or to the rural parts of California. The coastal regions of California, which are the most expensive places for people to live, must also play a part in helping solve our housing problem. That is why we are bringing forward what we think is a successful, balanced approach so that we can all be participants of solving the housing crisis. So with that, I want to really thank Circulate San Diego, Spur, and the Bay Area Council for their ongoing support. We have partners throughout the state that are going to help us hopefully be successful again this year, as we were last year with the law that was signed into back last September, went into effect in January. We hope to do the same this year, be successful, get the law signed this September by the governor so it can take effect January of next year. We can build more housing immediately starting next year. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Circulate. And again, thank them for their support and sponsorship of the legislation.
Rami Cortez, who is a developer who works on and builds density bonus projects. So he actually uses the rules that we're trying to apply in the coast in other parts of the state.
Good morning, my name is Rami Cortez, and I'm an infill developer and builder of transit-oriented housing in San Diego. We find ourselves not only in a housing crisis, but a humanitarian crisis, as the number of our unhoused neighbors reaches levels never seen before due to our inability to build housing at all income levels across the state. Without bonus programs like Affordable Housing Density Bonus, which allows me to build bonus units and have a streamlined, predictable approval process by deed restricting a portion of the bonus units to low-income families, none of my projects would be financially feasible. That doesn't mean a smaller project with less homes, it means no project and 0 homes. Affordable Housing Density Bonus has been wildly successful across the state, except in the coastal zone. My developer colleagues don't even contemplate building in the coastal zone because the coastal process is subjective, discretionary, and completely up to the Coastal Commission of what they're willing to approve. And worse than that, if the project gets appealed by affluent neighbors in the coastal community, it could drag out the project's approval process for years. I was born and raised in San Diego, and I love our beaches, and I support the intent of the Coastal Commission, and that's protecting our beaches, the environment, and providing access to the beaches. But we shouldn't only have access to the beaches for those that aren't fortunate enough to be affluent to live in these coastal communities. We should also provide access for families of all income levels to be able to live in these communities. And for that reason, I support AB 256 to support expanding coastal housing access. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for coming today. I'm Will Moore, Policy Counsel with Circulate San Diego, and this is not an attack on our coastal zone. This is not against our coastal zone. The purpose of our coastal zone is to prevent folks from doing bad things to the coast. Prevent somebody from building an oil well on the beach. Prevent somebody from building a fence so that you can't access the beach. That's what the Coastal Commission is supposed to do. That's what the Coastal Act is for. They're very good at stopping things because that's their job. We have them stop bad things. But housing is a good thing. Housing is something we need. Housing is something we're in a crisis because we don't have enough of. If we take this bill, it will take away some of that ability to stop the good things so that the Coastal Commission can focus on stopping the things it's supposed to stop. Now, density bonus is a unique opportunity because it only applies where you already have zoning for multifamily housing. It doesn't apply any place where you can't already build at least 5 units of housing. So it doesn't go and build apartment complexes in the wetlands or in places where it's not appropriate. We're already zoned for that. This bill would simply apply the rules that apply to the rest of the state of California in our most affluent, segregated, and exclusive places where we do not have housing access. The Coastal Act was originally intended to preserve, one of the things it's supposed to preserve is access for all of Californians to our coastal heritage that belongs to all of us. Right now, that's not possible because of the bureaucratic problems we have getting that done at the coast. This takes away the special exception that the coastal communities have and makes them obey the same laws with respect to building housing that the rest of the state does. It does not affect any of the environmental mandates that we all value that the Coastal Commission and the Coastal Act preserve. So with that, thank you all very much for coming. We'll take questions. Any of us will take questions. We'll be able to do stand-ups afterwards.
I have a question. For example, we know like in the area in La Jolla, people like pay more taxes, sometimes private security. So how this law could work with that? For example, if the people don't have money to pay for that house?
No. So, yes, I think the question is, the coastal area is expensive, and it's hard for people who aren't very wealthy to move into it no matter what you build. Well, the density bonus, the reason density bonus works for affordable housing is, for example, this building here. 5 of these units were made very low income affordable, which means people whose incomes are less than, I think, 60%? 60% of the median income of the area. So folks who have lower incomes can live in this complex here in ways that they would not be able to before. And so for a deed restriction for the next 45 years, that can't change, right? So this guarantees affordable housing, deed restricted, in the coastal zone, while also incentivizing just more housing for everyone at the same time. So it does both of those things.
But the rest is still the same, for example, no? Like, there's some other things that are expensive in those areas.
Well, there are some things that are expensive in those areas. What we found is when we require, and this is the reason density bonus helps, because it works with the system instead of saying, well, we have to have all 100% everything affordable, because that is A, fantastically expensive to build, and B, nobody can afford to actually build it. So a lot of those folks, when they're saying 100% affordable, only affordable, what they really mean in their intent, and they know this, is to say, we don't want anything to happen. And that's just a way to oppose all development so they can keep their nice little neighborhood the same. So we're saying, no, everybody is entitled to be able to go and have a chance to live in the coast, which is not what we have right now, and have the coastal areas subject to the laws that the rest of the state abides by.
And I want to just remind you also,
Dave, did you get to the mic?
Oh yeah. Just want to remind you also that, for example, we know a lot of people who are lower income are in service industries. So you mentioned the community of La Jolla. La Jolla has hotels. The workers who work there right now cannot live in that community. They have to drive mostly from the south to the north. And so there's an expense to driving as well, right? So what this does is it would create housing in that community that they can afford, and by law it cannot be more expensive than what their income can afford, so that then they can actually live in that community. That's what the law does. It caps or it limits how much you can charge for rent.
Thank you.
David, if you couldn't get the bill, and these are apparently you couldn't get this bill passed, and we wanted it fairly quickly, instead of just delay, and negotiate. If you needed it that quickly and you had all this pushback, what makes you think that you're going to get it now? And certainly by the January, we got another bill, and we've circumvented the pushback.
Well, we hope not. We hope to demonstrate, and we've already seen multiple projects that have been becoming to fruition, reality, as a result of our previous law. So the previous law, prior to the law that went into effect January 1st, which again we were a year ago here together introducing, the density bonus law only allowed a bonus if you build for low-income households. What our bill did is that you can get another bonus, you can build more units if you build for middle-income families. That new law that allows you to build more units for low-income and for middle-income is being utilized more and more in parts that are not in the coastal area. So what our argument is, like, look, this is being successful. If you want to solve the housing problem, you've got to solve it throughout the state. So that will be our challenge, you're right, because there was opposition prior to doing this. There has always been, but there has also been a reality check that, one, this program works. It builds housing for everyone, not just for low-income people, not just for high-income people. It builds housing for everybody, and we should be doing that throughout the entire state of California, because we are still not building enough housing, and they have a role to play.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, good, thank you. So one more time. Hi, is this your project?
This is not my project.
This is not your project, but okay, I just want to make sure. But one more time, the density bonus applies to middle income, not just low, right? Is that the same increment of 5, 10, 15? Okay, because all we had was the low income, and then all of a sudden you're saying, I mean, that was one of the abilities when you say, hey,